There comes a moment in every life when the question is no longer what do I want, but rather who am I willing to become? And in that space between desire and destiny lies a silent, often painful truth. Nothing changes until you do. Not the world, not your luck, not your circumstances. The bridge from who you are to who you could be, as built plank by plank with discipline. Discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't get applause. There's no spotlight when you wake up an hour earlier, when you choose to stay consistent, when you say no to distractions that scream louder than your purpose. But make no mistake, it is the thread that stitches greatness together. You see, potential is cheap. Everybody has it, but discipline, that's rare, that's earned, and it doesn't arrive with a grand entrance. It sneaks in quietly in the form of a small decision, to push through one more rep, to finish what you started, to bite your tongue when ego wants to lash out. Discipline shows up when no one's watching. It's forged in silence and proven in storms. It's the uncomfortable companion of transformation, the one that holds your hand while your old self tries to pull you back. There are going to be days when everything in you screams to quit, when the comfort of routine seduces you, when the familiar chains of your past feel safer than the unknown promise of your future. In those moments, you must remember this. The version of you that you dream of becoming is not waiting on motivation. That version is waiting on you to do the hard thing, over and over and over again. Discipline does not mean perfection. It means consistency in the face of imperfection. It means falling but getting up faster. It means mastering your habits before your habits master you. Every small act of discipline is a declaration to the world, I'm not here to be average. I'm not here to repeat the past. I'm here to rise. Not once, not occasionally, but daily. Think about it. Every person you admire, every legend whose story shook the world, they were not born with something you lack. They simply did not quit on the days they had every reason to. They didn't wait to feel like it. They acted anyway. Discipline was their passport to mastery. And here's the truth most people will never say out loud. Success is not about feeling inspired all the time. It's about doing the right thing, especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's when it counts. That's when the muscles of your character are torn and rebuilt. That's when self-mastery is no longer an idea. It's your identity. You want to build a life you're proud of? You want to become someone you respect? Then you must choose what's hard now so you can live with ease later. The easy road leads to regret. But the disciplined road? That's where the breakthroughs are born. That's where your future self stands tall, watching, hoping you'll cross the bridge. So the next time the alarm clock rings, the doubt creeps in, or the temptation whispers sweet lies, remember this: the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be will only be crossed by the one who shows up, no matter how they feel. Keep showing up, because you are the bridge. There's a moment, often quiet and unnoticed, when something stirs inside you. Anger, fear, sadness, frustration. It rises like a wave, uninvited and unfiltered. And for many, that wave becomes a command, an order, a reaction. But here's a deeper truth. Your emotions are not your enemies, but they are not your masters either. They are messengers, nothing more. Emotions come to inform you, not to control you. They speak the language of the heart, of the subconscious, of wounds you haven't healed and dreams you haven't spoken. Anger says something feels unjust. Sadness whispers something mattered and it's gone. Fear warns, tread carefully. But none of these feelings were ever meant to drive the car. They sit in the passenger seat, pointing out the terrain, but you hold the wheel. Self-mastery isn't about denying your emotions. It's about knowing how to sit with them without becoming them. It's about learning the pause, the space between feeling and action. In that pause, you find power. In that space, you decide who you'll be. Because without that pause, emotions hijack your choices. They rush your words, cloud your judgment, and write a script you'll wish you hadn't followed. But when you master that space, when you feel the storm rise and still stand in the calm, that's where strength is born. That's when wisdom takes over. That's when you stop being a slave to every emotional impulse and start becoming the master of your own energy. Look around. How many lives are burned down by a moment of uncontrolled rage? How many relationships shattered by words spoken in fear or ego? How many dreams buried because doubts shouted louder than determination? Most people never pause to question their emotions. They feel and they act. But if you want to live differently, if you want to rise above the noise, you must learn to feel deeply and still lead wisely. It takes courage to do this, to feel pain without numbing it, to face anger without unleashing it, to witness fear and still walk forward. But that is the work of the one who seeks self-mastery. You stop asking, how do I avoid feeling this? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? When you stop being afraid of your emotions, they become allies. They alert you, they guide you, they even sharpen you. But they no longer define you. You define you. That's when your presence becomes different, steadier, grounded. People feel it in how you speak, how you listen, how you respond, not react. Because power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's silent, sometimes it's just breathing through the moment instead of being broken by it. Sometimes it's choosing to say nothing when every emotion in you wants to scream. That's not weakness, that's strength with roots. And in those moments, those quiet victories no one else sees, you reclaim something that can't be bought or taught, command of your own soul. You stop being a leaf blown in the wind and start becoming the tree that stands through every season. So when the next wave comes, and it will, let it come. Listen to it. Learn from it. But remember who's driving, because the one who owns their emotions owns their life. There is no battleground more important, more silent, or more powerful than the one inside your own mind. It's where your fears are born. It's where your dreams begin. It's where battles are fought long before the world sees the outcome. And here's the truth. If you don't learn to master your mind, it will master you. The mind is like a wild horse, strong, fast, full of potential, but untamed. It'll throw you in the dirt every time. It will run wild with fear, drag you through regret, trap you in stories you've outgrown. That voice in your head, the one whispering, "You're not enough. It's too late. Why even try?" If you don't challenge it, it becomes the truth you live by. And not because it is true, but because you never stop to question who was really talking. But here's what many forget. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are the one who chooses which ones to plant, which ones to water, and which ones to let wither in silence. And that choice, that awareness, is the foundation of freedom. The mind will pull you in every direction if you let it. It'll focus on everything you lack, everything that went wrong, everything that might go wrong tomorrow. But self-mastery begins the moment you say no, not today. The moment you stop being a prisoner of thought and become the gatekeeper of what you allow to grow. It doesn't happen all at once. Mastery never does. It happens every morning you wake up and choose not to feed your doubts. Every time you replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Every time you catch yourself spiraling and take one deep breath to come back to now. It happens in the repetition, the quiet rewiring of a mind that once ran on survival, now learning to run on intention. People will say, mindset is everything, and they're right. But mindset isn't some magical positive thinking mantra. It's a discipline. It's a practice. It's the ability to think on purpose, to redirect your focus like a spotlight, to say, yes, this is hard, but I'm not done, to believe in possibility when the past only taught you pain. That's not fantasy. That's strength, because the mind will feed you what it's been trained to expect. If you've lived in fear, it'll give you reasons to be afraid. If you've lived in scarcity, it'll warn you that nothing lasts. But when you begin to shift, when you train your mind to focus on what's real, what's possible, what's next, that same mind becomes your greatest ally. Think about it. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every act of courage, it began with a single thought. Maybe I can. That one thought can open a new path, start a new story, but only if you catch it, only if you believe it long enough to act on it. That's the power of mastering your mind, not to live in delusion, but to choose thoughts that serve your purpose instead of sabotage it. The world will test you, life will stretch you, but if you've done the work inside, nothing out there can truly break you. Because you've anchored your power not in what happens, but in how you think about what happens. So every day, take the time, get quiet. Listen to what your mind is feeding you, and if it isn't building you, don't buy into it. Shape it, sharpen it, master it. Because the one who commands their mind commands their future. We live in a world that promises everything now. Quick results, fast success, one click and your cravings are met. But the truth about greatness, it doesn't come fast. It doesn't show up on your doorstep with a bow. It's built in the shadows, slowly, by those who have the strength to wait, to sacrifice, to choose the long road when the shortcut is calling. Delaying gratification, it sounds simple, but it is one of the hardest things a human being can do. Why? Because it goes against our instincts. We want comfort. We want pleasure. We want the reward before the work. But here's the problem. That pleasure, when taken too early, robs you of what's possible later. That comfort becomes a cage. And that shortcut? It often leads nowhere worth going. Growth doesn't happen when everything's easy. It happens when you postpone the feeling of, I deserve this now, and choose, I'm building something bigger. It's saying no to the impulse so you can say yes to the vision. It's skipping the party to study. It's getting up before the sun while others sleep in. It's turning down distractions when nobody else would blame you for giving in. That kind of discipline, that kind of patience, it's rare. And that's why it's powerful. Think of the tree that stands tall for 100 years. You don't see its roots. You don't see the time it spent in silence, in struggle, growing underground before it ever broke through the surface. But those roots, the time no one sees, that's what gives it the strength to weather storms. That's what delaying gratification does for you. It builds roots. It prepares you not just to reach success, but to handle it. The truth is, the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret, that weighs tons. Every time you give in to the easy choice, you delay your own greatness. But every time you resist, every time you say, not yet, I'm not done working, you earn something no one can take from you. Self-respect, integrity. The kind of quiet pride that grows from doing the right thing when nobody's watching. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. Choosing the long path often means walking alone, but it also means you're separating yourself from the crowd. You're rising above the noise. You're building character when others are chasing comfort. You don't plant a seed and expect a forest tomorrow. You water it, You protect it. You wait. And you trust that in time, all that effort, all that patience, all those quiet sacrifices, they'll turn into something extraordinary. So ask yourself, do you want to feel good for a moment, or do you want to be proud for a lifetime? Because the decisions you make when nobody's clapping are the ones that shape your legacy. That's how growth works. It doesn't shout, it whispers, keep going. And when the moment comes, when the results finally arrive, you'll know it wasn't luck. It wasn't handed to you. It was earned, paid for in full, with every hour you waited, every temptation you resisted, and every promise you kept to yourself. So don't rush the process. Respect it. Delay the reward, but never the effort. Because the future belongs to those who are willing to wait for it and work while they wait. In a world that moves faster than ever, where reactions are instant and noise never stops, there is one thing that separates the impulsive from the intentional: the pause, that quiet moment before the next word, the next step, the next decision. It may not look like much, but in that small space lies the power to change the outcome of your life. The pause is where wisdom lives. It's where you gather yourself before responding to anger. It's where you catch yourself before making a mistake you'll regret. It's where you choose clarity over chaos. But most people miss it. They run on emotion, on impulse, on habit. They speak without thinking, act without understanding, and later they wish they could rewind. But the one who learns to pause becomes dangerous in the best way, because they are no longer controlled by their first reaction. They don't let the world push them into decisions. They choose. And that is where self-mastery begins to take root. It takes strength to pause when your pride is wounded, when someone disrespects you and every part of you wants to fire back, wants to prove something, wants to be heard louder than the voice that hurt you. But real strength, it doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to react. Real strength can wait. It listens. It observes. And then it moves with purpose. And then it moves with purpose. You see, reaction is easy. Anybody can react. But to pause, to step back and ask, what's the wise thing to do right now? That takes a level of inner control most people never reach. That's where you stop being a product of the moment and start becoming the author of it. Some of the biggest regrets in life are born in moments that could have been saved by a single pause, a conversation that turned into a fight, a decision made in anger, a door closed because ego was louder than humility. But when you learn to pause, you give yourself the chance to rise above all that. You buy time. You buy peace. You buy presence. The pause isn't weakness. It's power in its purest form. It's the power to observe your thoughts without obeying them. It's the power to feel emotion without being swept away by it. It's the power to slow the world down just enough to see clearly and act deliberately. And this doesn't just apply in conflict. It applies in growth. When you're rushing through life, always on to the next thing, you miss the lessons right in front of you. The pause helps you process, reflect, refine. It teaches you to stop reacting and start responding, not just to people, but to life itself. Sometimes the greatest progress doesn't come from pushing forward, but from standing still just long enough to understand where you are. That pause, it's not wasted time. It's the reset, the recalibration. It's where perspective returns and purpose sharpens. And from that place, you move different, you speak different, you lead different. So the next time everything in you wants to rush, pause. When you're overwhelmed, pause. When you're uncertain, pause. Not because you're unsure, but because you're wise enough to know that silence often says more than noise ever could. And in that pause, you'll find the power that most spend their whole lives chasing. Look around you, not just at the walls or the weather, but really look at the people, the conversations, the habits, the energy. Your environment in all its forms is speaking. And what it's saying loud and clear is what you've been settling for. Because whether we like it or not, our surroundings reflect our standards. They echo our expectations, mirror our mindset, and quietly reveal what we believe we deserve. You don't have to say a word. Just show me who you spend your time with, what you tolerate, what you prioritize, and I'll show you the trajectory of your life. If you're always around people who make excuses, you'll start making them too. If you surround yourself with small thinking, soon your dreams will shrink to fit the room. But walk into a space where excellence is normal, where growth is expected, where people hold each other accountable, and suddenly, rising higher becomes your new baseline. That's the thing about self-mastery. It's not just about inner work. It shows up in what you allow around you. It's in the standards you silently enforce, the late nights when you choose discipline over comfort, the boundaries you protect even when it costs you something. It's knowing that every conversation either sharpens you or dulls you. Every habit either builds you or breaks you. And it's not just about the people. It's the space you live in, the order or chaos of your surroundings, the media you consume, the energy you allow in your home, in your mind, in your spirit. Is it building your focus or stealing it? Is it helping you grow or keeping you stuck? You don't rise to your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your environment is one of the strongest systems of all. You might have big dreams, but if the people around you scoff at those dreams, if your daily life is cluttered with distractions and negativity, don't be surprised when those dreams stay just that, dreams. Sometimes growth means letting go of comfort, of familiarity, of certain people even, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment, because not everyone can walk with you into the next chapter. Not every environment can support the weight of your transformation. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional, about realizing that you are constantly shaping your future by what you allow today. And if you want to rise higher, your environment must rise with you. You can't keep planting seeds of greatness in